Welcome back to Your Health Matters. Let's face it, we're living in stressful times. So, how can we take care of ourselves? Our next guest has some ideas. Christy Beck is a licensed therapist and the faculty supervisor of the Her Clinic at Penn State University. Welcome back, Christy.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's good to have you here. So, let's talk self care. Why is it
Yes.
so important?
Yeah, so, obviously it's important to take care of ourselves, but I often like to use the airplane metaphor, where when you're on the plane and they tell you you have to put your oxygen mask on first before you help other people, it's the same way. So basically that if we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not going to be able to take care of anybody else in our lives. And so we have to make that time to have that self-care.
I like the analogy in the airplane. So, what about staying connected? How is that self care and how do we do it?
Right, so things have been a bit more challenging these days, that we're socially isolating, and that can really take its toll on people's mental health. We, as humans, we're social creatures. We're meant to be around other people, and so besides the stress of what's going on right now, there's also the social isolation piece, and so it's really important that we can stay connected in any way we can. So, for example, you can do, there's like video chatting. So whatever platform you're using, you can continue to do that. I know some people that are doing like socially distanced walks together. So, any way that, with masks on, of course, but any way that you can stay connected in a safe way, I would recommend doing that so that you can, kind of break out of that isolation piece.
Isolation is something that we're all suffering from these days, and it does get so frustrating. So I like these ideas of going for safe walks and things like that.
Right.
So you also encourage people to reach out for help if they're feeling overwhelmed.
Right, exactly. And so with the onslaught of COVID-19, one of the I guess the ways that therapists have been responding is this increase in mental health services through telemental health. And so the talking with your therapist over the video, that platform has become more and more popular. The great news is insurance companies are paying for it more and more. And so I definitely encourage that even if you can't get to, and obviously right now it's generally not recommended that you go see somebody in person, that you reach out and connect with a therapist, and so that you can get that help that you need, and you can do it in a safe way.
So how do you know if you need help? If you are suffering, how do you know if you get to that point?
Right, and I think for different people it's going to look very differently. I think that if you just kind of know yourself and you know that you're not if you're feeling off or you're not enjoying the things that you used to enjoy anymore, that are, that you can still do, if you're, say sleeping a whole lot, that might be a sign of depression. If if you're having these like panic attacks where you have your heart is racing, and you get like cold sweats or something like that, that might be an indication that there's some panic disorder or anxiety disorder going on. And so, basically if there's things that that you're not quite yourself, or you're just not able to engage the way that you used to do, or, crying a lot. I mean, and again, I know this is a really stressful time, and so people might be emotional, and so I don't want to pathologize being sad, but if it's just more than usual, or it's getting in the way of your normal day-to-day routine, then that would be the time to reach out.
So we have about a minute left. What would you say to people who were brought up to just suffer through it, go through the pain, you'll get through it on the other side? How should they reach out? Why should they?
Right. Well, that generally doesn't work. And so, the suffering through it and the kind of powering through it often leads itself to some other kind of somatic issue.